Do you sometimes feel like being torn inside? One part of you wants to use your soul gifts and contribute to humankind. You know that you are a light worker, and the other part of you is afraid to be seen, is afraid to live up to your highest potential. And so you have this inner tension because you want to truly step into your highest soul calling and live according to your potential. But there is this fear deep inside of you that you cannot really put finger on, you cannot really explain it, and it's blocking you. If so, you are in the right place, because we will talk about 4 soul wounds that prevent people from living their highest potential and from being seen. And they make people stay in that cave where they are hiding their gifts. My name is Sylvia Salow, and I help light workers and starseeds to remember who they are. And today I want to talk about soul wounds. Those soul wounds happen in different lifetimes. As we go through those different lifetimes, we create all kinds of blockages and some pleasant and some not so pleasant experiences that can prevent us from fully stepping into our highest potential. So you may not remember your soul wounds, you may not be consciously aware of them, but to some degree they are playing out in your life anyway. It may be this difficult to define feeling on the inside. Maybe every day you wake up and you feel like you want to do so many things, you want to fully express your true self, you want to be creative, you want to contribute to other people using your gifts. And still something is holding you back. And it's this feeling, it's always there, underneath everything that you are doing. You may also attract situations into your life that make you feel being afraid of your potential, that make you feel like you want to go and hide in your cave and just be by yourself. So where do those soul wounds truly come from? We all have had many lifetimes, and there is like a series of lifetimes that are connected together. It's like a cycle, soul cycle, that carries different soul wounding. And so you may have had many lifetimes with the same soul wound, and you always looked at it from a different angle. And it's still somehow blocking you now, because whenever you want to truly step into your potential, it triggers the soul wounding. And so let's have a look at 4 soul wounds that prevent you from living your highest potential. So the first soul wound is that you have been persecuted. And this maybe doesn't come as a surprise. And we know that we have all been persecuted, one way or other. You may have a very specific memories, or maybe it's just this like difficult to define feeling. It's like a knowing, you just know it happened and you don't know the specifics, but you know it's there. And because you have this wound inside, it makes you be afraid of taking new challenges, of being more visible, of sharing your voice and your gift with other people. Because what if it happens again? What if somebody will harm you? What if they will harm your soul? Which is even worse than harming the physical body. And it's happened so many times. So how do you do it if you truly want to heal yourself? Here's the thing. When you have this wounding inside of you, this fear that no matter what you do, the darkness will catch you. There will be always something persecuting you, always something to harm you. Then what happens is that you are attracting situations that are similar to the original wounding. They may not be so hardcore as in different lifetimes. Likely they will be like a watered down version of the original event. But likely you attract some people into your life who did ugly things to you in different lifetimes. From my experience working with one-on-one clients and in a group setting, we go into different lifetimes. And what I have noticed, those people who work with me, they typically have somewhere between 1 to 3, maximum 4 people who really did ugly things to them in different lifetimes. And it may be their close relatives, like one of the parents or siblings or, uncle or someone very close to them. And so if this is the case, you are all the time like tapping into the energy of that original soul wounding when you are around those people. You have created that karmic bonding between you and them. And none of you are really free until you heal it. Because what happens when we have this kind of soul wounding that somebody did really ugly things to you in different lifetimes? The part of your soul that was very dominant in that lifetime, that carried the biggest, strongest soul gifts, gets like almost trapped in that time, in that timeline, and it gets fragmented. What it means is that we are almost like missing a piece of our soul. Not actually, but it feels like that. Our soul is fragmented, so it means like we don't have a conscious access to that part of our soul's energy. And so imagine that you're in this situation with your, uncle who persecuted you in a different lifetime. Maybe he cursed you or did worse things to you and the people you loved. And now he is your uncle and you have to deal with him. And every time when you are around him, you get this very tense feeling, like your body locks it, and it feels like you cannot be your true self around him, even though you would like to. And you just can't help it. And he makes you feel very dark. He makes you feel like very fearful. And it's because from that higher perspective, which you are doing together, you are clearing out that karma. I know there were many people who, persecuted you not in a nice way, and you may be afraid of meeting them in this life. But remember one thing, just like you forgot many things, they likely also forgot many things. So they may not be aware of it at all consciously. Maybe they just feel like, they don't like you for some reason, but they maybe, hopefully, don't want to harm you consciously. It's very unconscious, and sometimes this unconscious, soul wounding can play out in those relationships. Of course it can. And so what happens is that you have to integrate that soul fragment. So you use that situation or that relationship as an invitation for integration of your own soul's energy and for remembering and healing. You are being helped in this time. You are not in this process alone. There is lots of this trapped energy from our collective timelines that wants to be liberated. We need to receive the powerful, beautiful lessons and at the same time release all that hardship and all that heavy energy that's still holding us back. And so if you look at those situations that you find terrifying, challenging, and you feel like it may be connected to those times when you were using your voice, when you were using your gifts, do those few things. First, get very clear on that underlying fear. Get very clear about what is that reoccurring theme in your life. What are those situations about? If you wouldn't think about the specifics of those situations, just stay in the realm of energy. What are the energetics there? And what's the nature of those relationships with those people that you think are karmic? Analyze it, become aware of it. And then spend some time really alone. Maybe you can take a full day just for yourself. Do some meditation somehow aligned with your true self. And then ask yourself, how would you like to shine and share your gifts in this lifetime if you weren't afraid, if nothing could harm you? How would you like to live your life? How would you like to contribute to other people? Where is your soul guiding you? And then, once you are clear on that, start taking small action. These things don't happen overnight. Even if something is meant for you, it happens step by step. It happens through that gradual embodiment. And so when you start taking action and you become more and more visible and you live more in alignment with your potential, what's going to happen is that it will trigger those fears and soul wounds. And you just pay attention to it. Look at it as much as you can, as if it's a neutral situation, almost like happening to someone else, like you would be that unbiased observer of that situation. And then don't put that situation onto pedestal or that person, don't give them power over you. Focus on how this situation is helping you to heal yourself. How the journey of sharing your voice, for instance, can help you to integrate more of your soul's energy. Focus on that healing and integration, not on the specifics of those situations, or you will get stuck in those details. The details of that situation don't matter, it just holds certain information for you. But focus on taking actual steps towards sharing your voice. The next soul wound is a fear that you failed at your mission, that you failed the people who depended on you, and ultimately you failed God. So many of you, if not all, have had those experiences when you thought you did your best and it wasn't enough. You thought that you shared things from a very pure space and maybe someone else misused it. Or maybe you didn't use your gifts correctly. One way or other you failed. And you may still feel this very deep guilt within you. And it prevents you from looking at your gifts. It prevents you from seeing why you are here. What is your purpose? Because anytime you come anywhere near to the energy that you had in those lives that you feel like you failed, you will feel like you're bouncing right back. You feel like there's some kind of ceiling and you are being pulled into that old energy of limitation and restriction. It will feel like you are sabotaging yourself and you cannot just push through that ceiling. It feels like moving in circles. Because there is a fear that if you had similar gifts and remembrance and personal energy, that you may fail again. Maybe you may misuse those gifts, or someone else can misuse them through you. So what is very important here is that you have to remember that some things were meant to fail and you just played a role according to that script. You were just a volunteer of helping things to collapse. Because from that higher perspective, when there was the fall of consciousness taking place, it needed to happen. Because we evolved through different cycles as a humanity. And those cycles, when they are ending and finishing, it's usually not lovely experience. And so there's lots of this feeling like you are failing somehow. But remember, you are the right person now. If you look at those lifetimes where you failed and you remove that fear, you will be able to make sure that you don't fail this time, that you use your gifts wisely. Because why would you need to have two identical experiences? If you already had it in a different life, now is the time for something new. Now is the time to so-called do it correctly. And so you are the right person. There is this fear that you might fail again. You are bound to move in that loop. and sabotage everything and fail, because it's that fear that's attracting you to that timeline that is just looping somewhere. There's also your trapped soul's energy in there. And as long as there's that fear, we cannot look at things for what they are. And so maybe you need some guide, maybe you need someone to help you look at those lifetimes and to know what you are looking for and to hold that space for you. Whatever it takes, just do it, because anyway, you know that this is what you ultimately want. Ultimately, you want to be in that fully liberated energy and share your gifts and your purpose with others. And so what to be waiting for? If there is someone that can help you, or if there's something you can do that will help you, why not to do it? What are you waiting for? The next soul wound is related to the feeling that you are not ready. It's not the right time. You're somehow misaligned with time. And you may be actually using the time against yourself. So you may be, wasting time, using all kinds of distractions. You may be just waiting, or you may be just taking random action that doesn't really lead to any results. And why is this a soul wound? It is a soul wound for a similar reason as the previous one, because when we were in those cycles collectively, when things were meant to fall and decline, it felt like we were, out of like that beautiful relationship with time. It felt like we went somehow against the divine timing, because we didn't always understand that we were in the right divine timing, that these things were meant to collapse. And because of that, you may feel like you have to be waiting always, that it's better to wait, it's better not to take the action. It's better, tell yourself that you are not ready. Because back then, in those different lifetimes when you felt like you were ready, it anyway didn't help anything. And so you are just like sitting at your gifts and waiting for something, for someone to come and help you perhaps. And you have to understand that the time is now. We are in that part of a cycle when we are bridging ourselves to the sixth epoch. We are going into a completely new cycle as a collective. It's happening now. Not in the future, but right now. And you are here because it happens through you, whether you like it or not. And so you can either contribute to this new cycle with your greatness and your gifts, or with your fears. But it's happening through you anyway. And so how do you use time against yourself? How do you make time to enslave you instead of you commanding the time? Because if you are a visionary, you are always somehow ahead of time, and it can cause very deep wounding, because people will be projecting all kinds of stuff on you, because you can see things that they cannot see yet. So how can you make peace with time? And if this topic resonates with you, you can check out my masterclass on 5D time, including guided healing exercises, to really understand what is your relationship with time, because it's one of the most important factors we have: time and energy and space. And the last soul wound, preventing you from living your highest potential, is the fear that you have to do this alone. I know that so many of you feel lonely. I hear this from people all the time, every day, and know that you are not in it alone. But the thing is that when we first came to this planet, we came as that soul cluster. We were connected to our soul tribe. We were on the same frequency. But along the time, what happened is that we started to disconnect from each other. And the reason was that our heart chakra, which normally, ideally, is fully ignited, there are 3 sacred flames. that are activated. And when they are activated, we are able to find our soul tribe. We are able to find our people. We are able to bring them into our lives. But because of many various reasons, there was a manipulation that took place related to the higher heart chakra. And those flames were diminished. And because of that, it was difficult to find your soul family. But now, when you focus on igniting those flames and tending to them inside of your heart, you should be able to attract your soul people to you. And so you don't feel alone anymore. But even if you are, know that you are fully capable of walking this path alone. So it's not about that you need the other people. It's just beautiful to share and co-create. But it doesn't come from a place of attachment or neediness. It comes from a place of overflow. So focus on your higher heart chakra. And if you are interested in understanding the flames inside of the higher heart chakra, you can check my masterclass on the higher heart chakra. It should be linked down below, and it includes a powerful activation, reconnecting your higher heart to your I am presence. You will find it down below. And now let me know, are you afraid to live your highest potential? And if so, are you taking steps anyway? Or does it feel still paralyzing? And if so, what kind of help would you need to start moving in the right direction, to be sharing your gifts and your voice? Let me know down below, and if you enjoyed this video, please give it a like, share and subscribe to my YouTube channel.